Here we go. Happy Tuesday. Make sure everything is working. Still a work in progress here. Look at this hair. Holy jumping. Driven and dependable topic of the evening. Fitting, I am here in the shop this evening. Figured it'd be a good topic to sit in here and do this beautiful night, fall evening here in St. Louis, Starting Prairie, St. Louis, Missouri. Super excited to be on tonight. Talk real quick about a couple more of the core values of not only myself, but our practice, our brand, our culture, driven and dependable. These two are super important as we go on our kick of core values. There's 6 of them. We've talked about 2 already, genuine and grateful, gratitude, driven and dependable being 3 and 4. So with these, I've got the definitions of dependable. Talking about dependable, this is something that I am always working towards being better about. Probably the one that I am enjoying working the most on. I know I need to. I expect a lot of this, and I need to display a lot of this, and I think we all can be better at this in certain aspects. But dependable is trustworthy and reliable by definition. Dependable person is someone who gives a reliable service and is loyal and stable. The dependable person is someone you can count on in the workplace or at home. That's something that we really want to do, show up for every day. There's in our practice, there is a huge culture around being trustworthy, always doing the right thing, and trying to show up for you however we can. I will say what a lot of us do who really rely on dependability or want to be dependable, I would say one of the biggest pitfalls of dependability, and I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I'll be honest with something that I find is dependability requires, well, if dependability is high on your list, you want to be dependable. I think one of the pitfalls that we fall into is taking on too much, that you can get really frustrated when you know you are not completing things, executing things, doing what you said you were going to do, becomes very frustrating. And that can be a pitfall of somebody who has high dependability, because you're willing to take on a whole lot because you want to be that person. You want to help so many people. You want to do so much in every manner possible. And you want to be able to, you just very, very much want to show up for people and just be that rock or be that resource and somebody that that people can trust. And sometimes we take on too much, which sacrifices some dependability, or can sacrifice some dependability if you're not very aware and organized and really structure things and very, very hyper focused. So dependability is a great quality, great core value. Just remember that it's okay to take on what you can take on, and don't overload yourself, because it can be a pitfall and really compromise your credibility in your dependability. But it's super important to us. And like I said, honestly, these are core values we look for. I think a lot of the core values that I've gone after and looked for are because I want to hire people that help me exude more of that thing that I value, and that being dependability. I would love to say I am a very dependable person. I will very much say that I want to be 110% dependable person, but I want to learn how to better execute dependability in every different manner possible. So that's something as a brand we always want to be working towards, and I think we can always be better at. I don't think there's any perfection in it, but I think you should be open to feedback. There's a couple times this week already that my team and myself were very much open to feedback because it allowed us to learn more about the clientele we serve in the community we serve in, so we can show up and be more dependable for them, and just asking for their feedback. I think dependability directly correlates to the amount of feedback that you're willing to take on or you're willing to ask for. You will better learn how to be more dependable. So I super enjoy dependability. I require a lot of dependability. I need to work on a lot of dependability as it is by definition. But some of the ways, 7 ways you can show up for people or to show you're dependable. Do what you say you will do. If you make a commitment, live up to it. Be timely. Showing up on time shows people you care. Be responsive. When you're dependable, you respond to requests. Be organized, be accountable, follow up, and be consistent. Those all are subcategories of dependability, or 7 ways you can show people that you are dependable. And a lot of things that I am willing to say that I can and will continue to commit in working on. And that's why I hire people around me who value these things too, because that is something that we want at the core of our nature, our culture, and our brand is dependability. So doing what you say you will do is so important. Don't give false pretenses, false promises. Be honest and do what you say you will do. And if you make that commitment, live up to it. Even if you say you're going to be somewhere, I'll be the first one to say there's so much that I want to do and so much that I put on my plate. I will be honest and say this is one I need to work on, because there's a lot of times where I'll commit to so many things that then I have to sacrifice or choose or kind of back out of some things that maybe I'd already committed to doing because I just overbooked myself, which is also why you hire great people. And to the fact, this has been my theme of the week, and I'm so grateful for people like Amanda and Cheney, because they've both kind of taken on my calendar and what it is I'm trying to do. They get what I'm trying to do. They know that dependability is one of the things that I'm continuing to strive to be better at. And they very much make sure that I don't double book myself at this point, or our team doesn't book ourselves, overbook ourselves, so we can really, really build our dependability. And because it's something we personally require. And when we know that we can't live up to a commitment or we have to change our plans, it's something that we take hard on ourselves. Like, damn it, I wish I wouldn't have even scheduled it. I want to help somebody, but maybe I could have communicated that differently. And so we have help doing that now. Being timely, showing up on time, that's a lot of respect thing. That's a huge respect thing. Show up on time for people. That's a huge dependability trait. Being responsive. This is something, again, that I could be better at. There's a reason I leave my red receipts on, because, and I would expect anybody to call me out that maybe I've, my red receipt on my text says it's been read and I didn't respond. If you were looking for a response and there was a question asked, be like, hey, dude, you got to answer me. Because sometimes what happens, and why you should respond to almost anything that you get, is it lets people know that you're aware and that you value them. And yes, I hear you. And that's why I leave my red receipts on, because there's a lot of times I go through my phone and I have a lot of text or a lot of emails, and I jump from one to the other, and it's like, oh, she sent me this email, comes in, boom, I jump and I never answer that. And now that the alert's not there, I forget to respond. So, and give people a little grace on that too. I think it's something that we all can work on, but be very aware that people aren't dodging you intentionally, and sometimes they need a nudge, but just keep in mind that responding to things. I did this to Amanda earlier this week. She sent out our Monday text message, and I didn't even like it. I saw it, and then I was on to the next thing. And so I apologize, Amanda. I did see it. I loved it. Thank you for doing that every Monday. But being responsive and at least letting people know and acknowledging that, that you've seen what they had to say. That's a huge trait as far as dependability. Accountability, being organized. Absolutely. If you're not, find people, put them around you to be organized. I'm a clean person. You wouldn't know it right now, as I've got the race car all tore apart and the shop looks a little bit awry as I'm getting ready for Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, hopefully to make it to the track this weekend. But very clean person, but organization from calendar to files to scheduling of any kind. dishes, laundry, whatever it is, being organized is a huge key. And again, something that we're always working and changing towards. And things evolve. Just because what works now doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be perfect later. So being willing to adapt and changing the organization and holding and the fifth one, holding yourself accountable in those ways, and just being okay that change is going to happen. The only thing consistent is change, and it's okay. So just know that once you get organized, it might change later, and be okay with that. But stay organized, being accountable, hold people accountable. I think this is one of the traits in dependability that can be very, very walking on eggshells. But I think open lines of communication is huge for this, and knowing how to deliver accountability. It's not, you said you were going to do this, why didn't you do it? Versus like, hey, were you able to get this done? Is there anything I can help you with in getting this done? And just kind of creating that next step. Now, if you have to ask and ask and ask over and over and over, it's like, hey, bro, I need this done. Or hey, hon, we got to get this done. Can I help you? And there can be some seriousness on it. But if it's somebody, a little grace goes a long way, but it's okay to be held accountable. I tell my team all the time, I was like, I will forever unintentionally fail you when it comes to execution. And that's why I have and love you guys and how you operate. And feel free to hold me accountable. If there's something you need from me, chances are I'm going to need to be reminded, because I take so much on and deal with so many people. And that's not a complaint. It's just, I love to be that person and be big shoulders, but let yourself be held accountable, and take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a little thicker skin, and know that those people are holding you accountable for a reason, because oftentimes they don't want to see you fail, or they don't want to fail when they know you can help them or you've committed to them. And so it's not like, they're not MFing you and thinking any less of you, but there is accountability, and be okay with that accountability, and be like, you know what? Yes. Or when somebody asks you, hey, were you able to do that? Yep, sure was. Thanks for holding me accountable. Definitely got that done. It's in your email. Cool. Great. Just wondering. They could just be asking. But accountability in a lot of things, this is one thing that I think a lot of people can learn to take better. But I think a lot of people can also learn to deliver the act of holding accountable better as well. So don't think you're high up. Oh, I got him. I know he didn't do it, so I'm going to ask him about it. Have good intentions. Like, be that person who is grateful for an opportunity to recognize that you can help make sure that thing gets done. And just be genuine about it. Don't go with a vendetta, like trying to get somebody or throw them under a bus. Like, deliver accountability well, and be able to receive accountability well. Following up, hey, how's that person doing? I sent you this person. Or hey, thank you for getting those files. Were you able to see this? Did you see this? Following up and letting people know that you're actively in on the work that you're doing, or what they've asked you for. That's something that I try to do a lot on, whether it's people's weekends, or the care that we give in the office, or their family, or how was the party, the game, the trip, whatever it was. Following up with certain things, whether it's a task or just as a person. Like, my daughter got married this weekend, and come back into the office like, hey, how was the wedding this weekend? Following up on things like that, but also continuing to follow up with, even the business side of things, in whatever industry you're in. Like, hey, sent Jen your way. Were you guys able to connect? That is huge, just showing that you're high in dependability, and not only are depending on them, but that they can depend on you to make sure you're going to follow up and make sure things get handled, and just being consistent. And that's part of even these Tuesday nights at this point, saying that we're going to do this, and I really enjoy doing some of this, and being consistent in whatever it is you do. You can be consistent in right things, and you can be consistent in wrong things. And again, the feedback that you're willing to take will help your efforts as far as quality of action that you're doing. But whatever you're doing, be consistent with. And if I can encourage or implore people to be consistent in one thing, it's dependability. Absolutely be consistent in dependability, but continue to show up. Don't just, you can't shoot 3-pointers like Steph Curry shooting one a day or one a week. Be consistent in showing up, and that creates a great quality of dependability. Switching gears into Driven. Um, this is probably my highest of the core values that I really wrap my whole heart around. I mean, all of these are good that we're going to go through. We've talked about genuine. Genuine's definitely genuine, and driven are probably my top two that I really, really dive into. And driven for a couple reasons. There's so I don't know if it's subliminal is the word, but there's definitely irony, I guess, in the one of our core values being driven. Uh, there's a reason I'm sitting in this seat right here in the shop talking about driven. It's a part of my life. It's genuinely me, that not only the act of driving, something, a sport that I've been involved with and very, very passionate about, and what we've named our practice on because of the performance that our life and our body requires. I've been, it's in this sport of driving, and my dad racing on the West Coast and me being in a car now, racing on the weekends. There's definitely irony in that, and there's purpose in that word being used, and why our tag is fueled by faith, run by family, and is, and making sure that people can have and express the best amount of health to have the highest quality of life possible, and that their vital performance can allow them to do anything they want and need to do. And I am very, very driven in getting that point across and serving our community. If anybody's followed us on our social medias, or you haven't yet, you need to. And some of the clients that we're taking on now, and people that are exploring and benefiting from our care, is a very, very driven purpose on my part to serve this clientele. A lot of athletes, not from an injury standpoint, but from a health standpoint. A lot of things going about concussion right now. A lot of things talking about structure and really taking care of the performance of the body before it becomes an issue. I'm not an athletic injury chiropractor, although we deal with the injuries, yes. But I am driven to get the message out on why athletes need the care from a structural and neurological standpoint. Now we have this whole concussion talk, very, very important. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in this sport, two of the chiropractor or the quarterback in Florida, big deal these past couple weeks. What is this, August, or this is October 11th, 2022. So a couple weeks ago, Tua goes down and goes into kind of neurological compromise due to concussion. Big topics right now, and I'm super driven to get this point across and get care to these people who are hard on their bodies, and increase the vital performance so they can have and live and experience the quality of life that they want, need, deserve. So driven in that regard. So that's how it kind of ties in. The definition of driven is operated, moved, or controlled by a specified person or source of power, relentlessly compelled by the need to accomplish a goal, very hardworking and ambitious. Personality types: ambitious, persistent, and want to succeed. If my team or anybody that knows me or continues to experience me along this journey that is continuing to be publicly made for good reason, you will see, I think, driven really, really defines probably one of my biggest traits. So much so, again, I always like to give the alternate side of this, because I think it can help a lot of people who are around a lot of driven people. I think it can help you understand those people better, and or that culture better. Like our office, we're very, very driven. Me being the top, but driven people, the alternate side of being driven is it can be a very, very emotional tie, which can compromise a little bit of headspace and thinking and decision making. And also, sometimes they either have super, super thick skin or they don't. It's one or the other. I'm the other, and wear a lot on my sleeve, but we care so much because we are so ambitious, and we want the success for whatever the goal is we set out. And it's not always for us. Driven people really, I believe, the more driven a person is, it's not for their own success. It's for the success of the goal at hand and how that helps so many other people. And that's why driven, as far as a core value from us, and I tell clients all the time, and I told one today, I am more impatient about your care and success and your progress than you are. I am the most impatient. I am so driven to get people's success and to change their life and to change their health culture in their lives and their families' lives, that sometimes when the no's happen, or I'm not going to do that, or I don't want care from here, or I'll just go do this instead, or they don't even, and even if it's not in our office, it's like, man, I watch, so many people, collapse or, um, take their lives, or, succumb to medications that they don't want to be on, and how it changes people. That stuff just, it really, it affects the driven person so much. And in my aspect, being driven about those things, and whatever you're driven about, if you see things start to go the opposite way, it can very much um, really overwhelm you in the opposite direction of like, man, I just wanted to help so much, and you can start to spiral. So if you're around driven people, just be aware of that. A lot of times, more emotional in nature, and very, very much work on emotion, but they're ambitious, they're persistent, and that want to succeed for the greater good is very much a big thing. And that's part of what we do and explore in our office, is the act of being driven, for greater good for everybody around us. The care we give can literally change the world. It's changed lives. It continues to change lives every day. And even just to be a resource, our office being a resource to people who can vent. A gal today, telling me her struggles, and the fact that, what, I'm scared I'm becoming more depressed, and I don't want to deal with this anymore. And those are hallmark signs on somebody that you can help, and that we can help, through other things than just what people would stereotype the care in our office. So being driven to help people, to give them the life that they've always wanted, and the health that they've needed to do whatever it is that they want to do. We're very, very driven to succeed on that. Characteristics of driven: purpose, high purpose, optimism, self-esteem, bravery, energy, persistence, perspective, reflective, humility, celebration. Most of these, a high driven person will exude all at once. Some of them are worked on, but in the grand scheme of things, those characteristics, very, very high purpose. Um, to the point of, if things don't go the way, or we struggle communicating what it is we're trying to do, that we start to feel like we're failing our purpose, or if we can't get it across. We are so high purpose. And if we're misunderstood, that hurts a ton. If we don't get a chance, if we're stereotyped, understanding, you can realize somebody's driven, and maybe you don't align with them, or understand where they're coming from. Ask them about their purpose. Why do you want to do this? Why does this matter so much? Why are you being so hard-headed that you want to do this, or you're trying to get people to do this? I think those are very, very great questions to ask if you're not aligning with somebody who's very purpose-driven, because they could also be very, very much destroyed mentally and socially if they're not given that chance. And it's not that they might be hard-headed, but that's not their intentions. So if you can ever give somebody grace who you're not aligning with, who's very, very driven, and you can tell that, maybe you can take a quick second to understand them and ask them about their purpose. Like, okay, dude, like, sure, great, but why are you wanting to do this? Like, I feel like you're pressing this so hard, and that might not be the case, but why are you, like, what is your purpose for doing this? And I think that'll help you at least maybe understand a little more. Optimism, yes. Self-esteem, yes. Bravery, it takes, for driven people to go in one direction, and take a lot of people with them very quickly and lead in that direction. It takes a lot of bravery. There could be a lot of haters. There could be a lot of liability. There could be a lot of stress. And it takes a lot of bravery and energy and persistence to continue down that road. And one thing that we will always do as a driven person and brand in our office, and a lot of, every one of our team members, including myself, are very, very driven. And one thing that we always do, and I probably do it more and probably too much, is reflect. Very, very important. I probably do it to a fault, where it's like I live in a room of mirrors, and I'm always reflecting from every angle. Like, what can I have done better? Was that something I did? How can I have done better? How can I have changed this? Did I fail them here? Like, reflect. But at the same time, taking that reflection on what went well is something that we do. It's like, well, why did that go so well? Did we execute like according to plan, or was there something else that maybe happened through in there, didn't happen, that allowed it to go better than expected? But always reflecting allows you to drive further faster. There's a rear view mirror for a reason, and it's not to, it's a little to been, but it's not to block what's coming at you and trying to pass you. It's that so you can reflect on where you've been and en route to where you're going. So, but reflecting on the process, reflecting on you as a person and as a team, as a brand, as as a coach, whatever it is, being able to reflect in all the right reasons, in the good, in the bad. And that's why celebration is so big as well. When you celebrate those things, it's okay to reflect. Do not forget to celebrate, but reflect on why you're celebrating. This is awesome, guys. What do you think we did very well? Whether it's a 3-run comeback like the Astros did tonight, like what did we do well to put us in a position in the last inning or in the last quarter or the last period? Or we had a record month. What put us in that position? Great job, high fives. Now let's recognize and reflect on what went so well. Or just the opposite. How did we lose this game 3 runs up? Or, why didn't we have a record month? We were trending one direction. What was the difference in that? And being able to reflect and taking that feedback again in a certain way that helps you continue to move forward and drive in the direction it is you want to go. So that's driven and dependable by definition, and a little bit of links to us. Always something that we're working on and wanting to just grow in. I don't want to say, maybe be better at. It's kind of like, I hate to admit that, but it's true. I think we all have things to work on in especially the dependability. Not everybody has, I think everybody does have drive, but I think dependability is something I think we all can work on and grow in, but more growth than anything in these things. I think no matter what your core values are or what you align in, take those, recognize those, and just keep those on the front burner, not the back burner. Let's not back burner. Put those on the front burner, flip those around a little bit, and just keep those in the forefront. That's what I was looking for. Keep those in the forefront and allow yourself to grow in them. And that's super, super important. So exciting night. As we wrap this up, there is a lot of great things happening, from the weather changing to the seasons changing, the holidays coming. Just grateful for so many things. Grateful for those of you that are going to see this. Grateful for the opportunity to serve and drive forward a mission that we're super passionate about, and that's really changing the lives every day. And so just appreciate that. This evening is going to consist of me putting this race car back together. Got a lot of work to do. I got to clean and organize and depend on myself to get this done by Thursday. And so I'm going to wrap up my night doing one of the things I love and get to do after we put the kids here to bed. Hope you enjoy. Hope you have taken something from this, and have a great rest of your evening, your day, whenever you're seeing this. Great rest of your week. Love and appreciate you guys. See ya.